I don't have my coffee. We're going to skip the coffee today and go back to the cam. I don't see my preview starting, which is par for the course. Let's go over here to LinkedIn and see if that's working. I don't see that working, but there we go. Okay, and we'll get the comments up there, except that we don't have logged in. Oh my gosh. Now we got a CAPTCHA. Where's a bus? I don't see any buses. Also check these other images because you missed a couple of buses. Okay, what's a typical customer acquisition cost? Oh, brother. It depends a lot on what you're selling and how you're advertising. And, why don't you reach out? I see you're on LinkedIn. Why don't you reach out over there and, we'll keep it confidential. Okay, it looks like my screen is in the way. There we go. Got that fixed. Is the sound working? Let's see. To reach out. Yeah, it is. Okay. Thanks, Carl, for the question. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Well, I thought I'd kick it off with Burger King. And that's a lot of fun. So we'll get over here to this thing. And I think it's just music so I'll have to read it to you.
Joe wonders if this is working from home or living at work.
Living at work.
Emma has discovered that she likes dating Mark's profile more than she likes dating Mark. Esteban, he took an online violin masterclass, but he's not anywhere near becoming a master. Dustin bought a book on climate change, but it's shipped from England by plane, wrapped in plastic. Now he's confused. But isn't everyone bumping elbows?
Said he sneezes into his elbow, but isn't everyone bumping elbows?
These are confusing times, which is just about the right time to have the Burger King Impossible Whopper. A Whopper made without beef that tastes just like a Whopper.
Okay, so that was a lot of fun. I skipped the middle. It just goes on and on and on. I like the part about sneezing into his elbow and then thinking that everyone's bumping elbows. Burger King, I give them credit. Their burgers are okay, but their ads are fun to watch. So sort of like Geico. I don't use Geico. Some of my family members have had run-ins with Geico, and you don't want to hit a Geico insured or whatever, because they won't pay. They don't pay claims, but they have low rates. So if that's what you're looking for in insurance, they're good for that. Okay, so let's get over to the real news. I have to hit a button here. TV viewing time in first quarter down 9%. More declines expected because we're getting out into the sunshine, thank heaven. Okay, and so it goes on and on and on and on about this and that. But I thought this was interesting right down here. This is probably the best part. Due to a lack of maintenance in Nielsen panel homes, there's been a severe undercoating of viewers since the pandemic began. That's what the industry, VAB, the industry's advertising trade groups, has been complaining. Because broadcast went down while cable went up. And, does that make any sense? Sure, I suppose. But, like my son-in-law, he had cable. He still has cable. But we went up there and Packers and the Vikings were playing, and I said, why can't we watch the game? He said, I don't have local TV. I said, yes, you do. All you have to do is plug an antenna into the back of that wall-sized TV. He said, really? I said, yeah, let's go to the hardware store. We'll get an antenna. It was like $10. Wow, look at that. I got all these new channels. Yeah, and for free almost. Anyway, so, those wouldn't get counted, those viewers. Those new viewers where the old guy teaches the young guy how to watch local TV. Anyway, we'll go on. Okay, here's a couple of interesting things about this article from Ashley Jorgensen. One is that it's in Forbes. I like that Forbes writes or invites authors to write about direct mail. And the other is that I guess that's the main thing. Let's go on. Okay, so she starts with the typical question, like I do: is direct marketing dead? Which reminds me, direct mail is not dead. Not only that, but I don't know that we should take a page from digital so likely, because digital is probably more dead than mail in the sense of being effective. Now, in the sense of sucking up all the budget, D-mail, digital is way more effective. Digital's effectiveness is largely in sucking out the money from advertising. As we talked about yesterday, great article by Tom Fishburne about how basically half the digital money doesn't have anything to do with advertising. It just has to do with all this special shiny object targeting and other things that may not even be going to humans. Likely not, because it's more than 50% of the money is going to other things. And, at least with mail, it's getting delivered, it's getting to a decision maker, because in our house of 6 people, back when we had everybody living there, only one person really threw out the mail. So direct mail goes to a decision maker, goes to a house, it's delivered, and the decision maker has to engage with it. You have to look at it. You have to throw it away. You can pile it up for the pandemic, but sooner or later you have to go through it. And unless, of course, you have informed delivery where you can scan it and realize that there's nothing important and throw the whole pile in the trash without any second thoughts. I'm not a fan of informed delivery for you USPS people. I would never mention it if you were selling mail. I would mention goes to the household, it gets delivered, it goes to a decision maker, 100% engagement compared to digital. And it builds, therefore, a labeled data set where we know somebody saw it. And of the people who saw it, we know who bought and who didn't. That opens up the real data analysis capabilities. So we'll be talking about that, the fraud of digital, the benefits of mail in the webinar on Thursday. It's $20 for non-members of WDMA. Go to WDMA.org and you can sign up. And I think it's going to be powerful if you're selling mail, either USPS or print or other mail services or a direct marketing agency. I think you'll get ammunition that you need to get mailers to mail more, maybe to do prospecting, and to get non-mailers to start a mail division and suck some of that money back from digital that's being wasted. Okay, so enough of the commercial. Is direct marketing dead? No. Direct data-driven approaches have transformed direct mail. I would contend or almost argue that we've gone backwards. That like digital, we measure everything, but we test almost nothing, which will be another component. We want to talk testing. And the data is not self-revealing. Unless you set up a mailing with an hypothesis of what you want to test, what you want to learn, what you want to find out, you don't understand the benefits of mail. And this, I didn't see testing mentioned once in this article, which is another problem with the blossoming of direct mail articles is great. When I first started this channel, I couldn't find articles on direct mail. Now I find them every day that I hadn't seen. This is a new one today. And the problem is that they aren't very good. They aren't very complete. And Ashley, happy to have you on the show. I know you can only write so many words. That's a real problem in print. I can talk faster than I can write. So I have an advantage when I critique these. Okay, so how should marketers change? The question is, should they change? You may want to visit scientificadvertising.com and get a copy of Claude Hopkins' book free, or you can get the audio book for $10, which is what I did. We need to use direct marketing strategically. Now that is absolutely true. And direct marketing, maybe she's seen enough of these shows that she thinks direct marketing equals testing, although not many people do. Most people think the bad definition, which is generating a measurable response. Measurable, not measured, not tested. Okay, So direct marketing is a strategic element in marketing. Direct mail is a tactic. Email is a tactic. Okay. She wants strategy over tactics. Okay. Strategy, you have to step back and say, what are we trying to do? Strategy is your marketing program's why. I agree with that 100%. Okay. But planning how direct mail will help you achieve your business marketing objectives is still tactics. Mail is just a tactic, unless you're doing the testing, unless you have an iterative program of continuous improvement in the testing, in which case you have direct marketing. It's the old school guys that knew that. That's why the definition is so bad. I used to have coffee at Bob Stone's house, and I said, how could you leave that out? He said, you're so right, John. We just couldn't imagine that people could test and wouldn't. They could measure and didn't, and could measure but didn't test. We were so steeped in it. Okay, so then use what we know to guide our decisions. You don't know much if you're not testing. Propensity models, this is good. You figure out which customers buy on both channels. It's surprisingly rare, though, that you actually see nowadays. Almost everybody who buys anywhere goes to the website, whether they are going to buy there or not, or whether they were triggered by mail or by the retail store, or by driving around, or by hearing from a friend that this is a good company. No matter what they do, the website can take care of it and take credit. That's the reason why attribution models are so twisted. Okay, but who is a potential customer for brick and mortar? Well, you don't need a lot of modeling for that. You know who it is? People who live close to the store. I was just going over a retailer with about 80 stores about, we did this analysis. They were so enamored with their website that they were convinced that now nobody had to go to the store. They didn't have to open any new stores, and that people would just buy off the website. And it was furniture. You want to jump up and down on the furniture. And I'm not saying you can't sell furniture online. IBM found that they couldn't sell a first computer very well through the mail, but they could sell a second on the phone and the mail. So with furniture, like Williams-Sonoma, if you get one, you try it out with something small, and then you say, gee, this is good stuff. You might buy a lot more. I'm all in on that concept. But what we found when we analyzed the web purchases was that they were predominantly within just a couple miles of the store. I mean, vast, not just the majority, but like 90% was within 10 miles or something. I don't remember the numbers. So it's not confidential information if I can't even remember what it is. But I know that it was shocking. Okay. Another one, the customer no longer responds in one channel like email, might prefer a strategically designed postal mailing. Strategically. Again, probably not. I don't know how strategy fits that. Embrace data. Data, if you want to hear about data, you might want to. Somebody actually did buy a couple of these this last week. Spinning straw into gold, the magic of making data into money. It's not so easy as you think. Data is not self-revealing. Data takes a lot of work. Data is straw, and that's not going to make you money. So anyway, data can also help you send more relevant messages. Again, very difficult. Very, very difficult. I'm actually sending personal letters out a couple a week to friends and prospects and clients. And it's very difficult to say things, even with people that you genuinely know, that you've talked to recently. It's still very difficult to know what to say. It just is. Because you're not in their heads, you're not in their lives. I think it's so funny that people think that data will somehow guide you into these personal messages. But, the author, Ashley, I think was her name, recently browsed a customized lawn care site and received a personalized mailer. In what sense? We know you visited your site. We know you have a lawn, or someone does. I think it's almost always the challenge is Create relevant, meaningful, attention-getting messages. I think those are almost mutually exclusive. Unless you can say this letter is all about you. But mostly the relevant and meaningful is a good deal or something I didn't know about and probably didn't know I needed. And attention getting also is a good offer, but personalization can get in the way of all that. In fact, in B2B years ago, we found that putting a person's name on it often got it misdirected to the person who no longer was making decisions in that category because we called them up. Like she says, change channels. We would call up and say, hey, you ordered from us 4 years ago. Why aren't you ordering anymore? And they'd say, oh, I don't do that anymore. I got a different job. That was just like the company picnic. I was in charge of it 1 year. And now so-and-so's in charge of it. Oh, thanks a lot. But if you put company picnic manager or something, you might get it to the right person. The mailroom might figure it out. So and there just aren't a lot of there aren't a lot of ways to make that work. It's much more difficult than you think. So Ashley, thank you for the article. Forbes, thank you for putting mail in the forefront where it belongs. But I highly encourage you. Carl wrote me before the show and asked a specific question, which I really welcome. That's the way to get good information. Find somebody who's done it a lot of times, made a lot of mistakes, and see what they have to say. I'm John Miglautsch. Like and share. Your friends will know.